Hey there, early birds and night owls alike. You know mornings can be a real mixed bag. Some days you're up and ready to go, other days, well, the snooze button is your best friend. But what if I told you that there's a way to make every morning feel like a win?
That's where the magic of a well-crafted morning routine comes in. It's not just about chugging coffee and rushing out the door. It's about being intentional and setting the tone for your entire day. You're basically priming your mind and body for peak performance.
I am so intrigued. I've tried the whole morning routine thing before and it fizzled out after a week. So what makes this time different? What am I missing?
Well, it's all about understanding the why behind the routine. It's not about forcing yourself into a rigid schedule or anything. It's about tapping into the science behind how our brains and bodies actually work best.
Okay, so let's get nerdy then. What is the science behind why morning routines are so effective? Is there something special about those early hours?
Absolutely, there is. One key factor is something called the cortisol awakening response. Right after you wake up, your cortisol levels naturally spike.
Okay.
And cortisol is that hormone that's linked to alertness and focus.
Wait, so my body's already giving me a productivity boost before I even have coffee. That's amazing.
It is. And here's the cool part. By engaging in productive activities during this cortisol surge, you're essentially working with your body's natural rhythms instead of against them.
So it's like catching a wave at the perfect moment,
Yes,
riding that cortisol surge to a more productive morning.
exactly. Think about it. Your body is primed for things like planning, problem solving, even creative brainstorming during those early hours.
That makes a lot of sense. But I've heard that not everyone's internal clock is the same. So what about those of us who are night owls? Does this cortisol thing still apply?
That's a great question. We are learning more and more about chronotypes, those early birds versus night owls, and they have varying biological rhythms. So while the principles of a morning routine still hold true, night owls might need to adapt the timing and activities to better suit their natural sleep-wake cycles.
Got it.
Yeah.
So even night owls can benefit from a routine, but it might look a little different for them.
Precisely. It's all about personalization. You have to work with your own unique biology. And another fascinating aspect of this is habit formation. By consistently engaging in the same activities each morning, you're actually strengthening neural pathways in your brain.
Okay, can you break that down for me? What does that mean in practical terms?
Okay. Imagine creating a well-worn path in a forest.
Okay.
The more you walk that path, the easier it becomes to navigate,
All
right?
right.
It's the same with your brain. Repetition strengthens those connections. It makes the actions almost automatic over time.
So my brain goes on autopilot.
Exactly. It requires less conscious effort. It reduces that decision fatigue,
Mm-hmm.
and then it frees up mental energy for other tasks throughout your day.
That's huge. Decision overload is definitely something I struggle with. So a solid morning routine can combat that.
Absolutely. And there's more. Morning routines also play a crucial role in mood regulation. You see, the structure and predictability of a routine can actually reduce stress and anxiety.
So instead of waking up with that feeling of dread, I can start the day feeling more calm and collected.
Yes, you got it. And that positive emotional foundation can have a ripple effect on how you handle challenges and opportunities throughout the day.
Okay, I'm sold. I am officially a morning routine convert, but how do I actually build a routine that works for me?
That's where the fun begins. Building a successful morning routine is all about intentionality, personalization, and a little bit of experimentation.
Okay, I'm ready to roll up my sleeves and get to work.
So I think we left off talking about how to actually build a morning routine that's going to work and stick.
Yeah, we talked about why morning routines are so important, but now, how do we actually make one? Where do we even begin?
Right, right. Well, the key is to remember that there's no one size fits all. Your ideal morning routine is going to be totally unique. It has to be something that energizes you, that inspires you, and that, works with your goals and lifestyle.
Okay, so where do we begin? It can feel kind of overwhelming.
Well, the first step is to really define your intention. Like, what is it that you want to achieve with your morning routine? Do you want to feel more energized, more focused? Maybe you want to be more creative or even cultivate a sense of inner peace.
It's like setting a destination before you go on a trip, right?
Right.
You got to know where you're going to plan how to get there.
Yes, exactly. Once you have a clear vision of what you want, then you can start to choose activities that support that vision.
So how do we pick those activities? What are some examples of things that people typically incorporate into their morning routines?
Oh, there's endless possibilities. For the mind, journaling, reading, or just setting your daily intentions, these can be really powerful.
I've always wanted to try journaling, but I could never stick with it. Any tips for making that a habit?
Start small. Don't pressure yourself to write pages and pages. Start with just a few minutes each morning. Maybe jot down like 3 things that you're grateful for, or just free write, whatever comes to mind. But being consistent is key.
Okay, that's really helpful. I think I can handle a few minutes. What about activities for the body? I'm not much of a morning workout person.
Yeah. Even a few minutes of movement can make a big difference. Gentle stretching, some yoga, even a quick walk can really boost your energy levels and mood. It's really just about getting your blood flowing and waking up your body.
I can definitely get behind some stretching.
Yeah.
What about nourishing the spirit?
Ah, yes. Things like meditation, practicing gratitude, even spending some time in nature if you can. That can cultivate a sense of inner peace and a sense of purpose. It's about connecting with something bigger than yourself and setting a positive tone for your day.
This is all so inspiring. But I think it's easy to get carried away and try to do too much. Any advice for keeping things manageable?
Yeah, you're so right. I think one of the biggest mistakes that people make is trying to create these elaborate routines that are just like overwhelming. Simplicity is key. Start with just a few core activities that you can actually commit to.
So it's better to have like a 15-minute routine that you'll actually do every day than a 2-hour one that's going to fizzle out.
Exactly. It's about finding that sweet spot where your routine feels, sustainable and enjoyable, not a chore.
I love that. Now let's talk about those inevitable curveballs that life throws our way. What happens when, you sleep in or you have a surprise early meeting?
That's where flexibility comes in. Your morning routine is supposed to serve you, not the other way around. So you have to adapt and adjust based on the
So
circumstances.
it's not about being like super rigid. It's about finding a framework that works for you and allows for some wiggle room.
Precisely. And remember, even if you miss a day or two, don't beat yourself up about it. Just get back on track as soon as you can. Like they say, consistency over perfection.
Okay, that takes the pressure off. Now, for those of us who are, ready to design our own personalized morning routine, what are some practical tips to keep in mind?
One helpful strategy is to start by identifying what we call your anchor habits. And these are like the non-negotiable activities that are the foundation of your routine.
So for me, that might be like my morning cup of tea and a few minutes of journaling.
Exactly. Once you've got those anchor habits in place, then you can start experimenting with adding other activities that support your overall goals.
I'm already feeling more confident about this whole morning routine thing. I think, it's not about becoming a totally different person overnight. It's about making these like small intentional changes that add up to big results.
That's the right mindset. And remember, building a successful morning routine, it's a journey, not a destination. It's about continuously refining and adapting as your needs and priorities change.
So we've been having this really great conversation about creating a morning routine that really works for you.
Yeah, exploring the science behind it, practical tips, how to make it stick.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But before we wrap up, I have one more question for you. We always hear about all these successful people with like these incredible morning routines, but are there any downsides? Could having like a strict routine actually stifle your creativity or spontaneity?
It's interesting. It's definitely something to be mindful of. I think while routines can be super beneficial, it's important to approach them with balance and flexibility. You don't want to create like a rigid, unbreakable structure.
Yeah.
It's more about a framework that supports you, but still allows room for, those sparks of creativity and those spontaneous moments.
Right. It's not about becoming a robot. It's about finding a rhythm that really works for you.
Yes,
Right.
exactly. Having those core activities that ground you and set you up for success, but also leaving space for inspiration and, those unexpected adventures.
I love that balance between structure and freedom. Now, as we wrap up this episode, what is one key takeaway you want our listeners to remember?
I think I'd say your mornings really do matter. They're such a precious opportunity to set the tone for your day and create a life that you truly love.
Yeah.
Don't underestimate the power of those early hours.
It's so true. Your mornings are a gift. Embrace them. Make them your own. And to all our amazing listeners, thank you for joining us for this deep dive into the world of morning routines.
Yes, thank you.
We hope you gain some insights and you feel ready to create a morning routine that sets you up for success. And if you enjoyed this episode, be sure to subscribe to our channel on YouTube, like this video, and share with your friends. If you're listening on Instagram, Spotify, or TikTok, give us a follow for more insightful deep dives. Until next time, make those mornings bright and make each day count.